Welcome to the channel. Welcome to Kryptonite Core. Let's get this started. So if you're new to the channel, have no fear because John Woods is here and we're ready to talk about some wrestling tonight in this dark, cryptic dungeon that I'm in. All right. So I watched good old faithful Monday Night Raw for February 26th of 2024. We had some impressive moments. We had some questionable moments. We had some moments that just made me scratch my head in disbelief. All right. So let's jump straight into it. All right. The thumbnail captures everything, right? The anticipation in the room between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre is at an all-time high. Now, I guess I'm a promo guy because, man, when we have Raw, when we have SmackDown, when we have Dynamite, when we have any wrestling show, all right, even back from like, Impact Wrestling or WCW or ECW, man, I always go to the promo section first, all right? I always want to listen to the promos. The promos get me vibed and hyped and energized for the show. And man, I'm a wrestling fan at heart, so I want to dive deep into those. So this was one of 3 promos that happened during the evening. All right, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre stepped foot in the ring, and Drew, oh my gosh, Drew McIntyre is an incredible heel, so vile, so man, he is just so nasty and crazy with his language that he uses to portray his character on screen. All right, so he basically so he talked about Seth Rollins' injury. He talked about his possible injury to his back. And I have to say, man, Drew is being an incredible heel, getting that heel character over more and more, making him look more and more like a heel should look. All right. We really don't need to hype this up more than it needs to be hyped up because the WWE, they're doing a good job week after week making these two look great at their scheduled roles. Seth Rollins being this champion who wants to go out there every single week and defend the prize, the possession, the WWE World's Heavyweight Championship, and go out there and have potentially the best match of the night every single night that he goes out there and defends. But since he got injured, okay, the WWE hasn't had him out there except cutting promos. All right. And obviously I'm a promo guy, so I like promos. So we go out there and we have this tremendous promo between these two. And Seth is nice and calm, relaxed. Nice and relaxed about everything. And Drew doesn't hold back. He's so calculating, so much charisma. And I don't know if this points out to anything that's going to happen at WrestleMania, but I think that it does sort of sign something that Drew is going to kayfabe take out Seth. All right. So it gives him more props. Now, I've heard a lot of people. All right. There's been a few YouTubers. All right. That talk wrestling, that have knowledge about pro wrestling, that have been speaking and sprawling about what's going to happen during the Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins match. Are we going to have CM Punk on commentary, or are we going to have CM Punk be the special guest referee? Probably not. All right. But what we will have, what we will have, though, is good old faithful CM Punk possibly on commentary. Wouldn't that be incredible? CM Punk's not bad on commentary. He actually doesn't get injured when he's on commentary. But CM Punk should be on commentary. Now, some of these YouTubers have mentioned that they think that CM Punk's going to get involved in some way, and he's going to inadvertently or some way cost Drew the victory. And Seth's going to somehow walk out of that WrestleMania 40 with his head held high. Woo! And he's going to still be the WWE World's Heavyweight Champion. I'd like to agree with him, but I have to say that's probably not going to happen. That's highly not going to happen. That could happen. But I don't think that scenario is actually going to take place. I don't think they're going to have and risk CM Punk getting involved when the huge, massive risk is that CM Punk actually gets injured or re-injured and's out even longer. So then you put all your plans that you have and you flush them down the dang drain one more time, because we know that the original plan for CM Punk was actually to win the Royal Rumble instead of Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes, as great as Cody is, it was actually supposed to be Rock one-on-one with Roman Reigns, that would have been tremendous. But I'm glad it didn't happen, because Cody deserves this spot, okay? And I'll get to that a little bit later. But Seth Rollins is going to do his deal, okay? But we're So these two guys had an incredible promo. They cut each other up. They destroyed one another. And Drew is doing great. Okay. So I have to say that the anticipation of the match is good, but Punk getting involved is not going to happen. I'm sorry to the YouTuber community that believes this, and you know exactly who you are, But I think Drew McIntyre is going to win. All right, this is the third time in the calendar, or in the WWE wrestling calendar, that these two have met each other. The first two times for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins retained both times. Okay, so this will be the third time. And I think, if anything, this sets up the more of the possible fight between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And what does that entail? Well, that entails that CM Punk is possibly going to have this massive return when he returns from injury, at busting himself up. And he's going to return with his head held high, knowing that he is going to get his hands on Drew and possibly get a title shot. And he's going to get a title shot. It's going to be a fight. You got Drew McIntyre and you got CM Punk. And CM Punk will most likely become the man of the hour at SummerSlam. Woo! SummerSlam. So I don't really want CM Punk to win. I'm not really on the CM Punk bandwagon. I don't really like CM Punk. His attitude gets me. I don't like it. I think he's more hyped than what he needs to be, And Drew McIntyre, well, they're probably doing this. They're probably giving him the championship. They're probably giving him this massive win, this massive reception, to help him make up that decision if he's going to stick around, if he's going to stay and sign a new contract. And I think that the better news is that this dude does stick around. This dude does make that decision to stay with WWE, because I think at the long term, it's the better idea. Because like I talked about the other day, AEW is just it's too clamored. There's too many talents. And I like, oh, man, there's too many talents. But yeah, there's too many top-notch talents. You know what that means, right? That means that there is just too much competition. All right, there's a good thing of competition and there's a bad thing with competition. When the good thing with competition is, if you have a few people, it's good, man. It's good, because then you step your game up and they step their game up, and everybody's competing for that top number one spot. But if you have too much competition, that means you're getting overlooked, and your position that you once had is now going to somebody else that snuck in the back door, somebody else that don't deserve it, somebody else that may deserve it, but man, it's a hard place to be. So, like, Jay White coming in and Okada coming in and Will Ospreay coming in, and then you got all these other people that are sticking around, and some people are just, well, they disappear because they get in trouble, or can't stay out of trouble, and so on and so forth. And then what do you know? So, but yeah. So we are just going to say that Drew versus Seth is going to be an incredible contest. And I think the third match in the series at WrestleMania 40 is going to be the best of the three. And I think that Drew is going to kick Seth Rollins in the head, and Seth is just going to flip over like a dead fish out of water. And Drew's going to become the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour. And he's going to become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And he's going to beat the man that's talked about in the company. All right. Besides Cody Rhodes, he's going to be the top heel in the company. All right. Cody's not a heel or anything like that, but he's going to be the guy that's going to be talked about on Monday Night Raw, which that was the thing of the promo that made me smile, that made me giggle, that made me, want some more, was when he said that he was ashamed that what Seth Rollins was doing with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, because he was going to SmackDown to deal with their problems when, if he is champion and when he does become champion, if SmackDown, is burning and blazing and on fire, he's just going to tell him and he's just going to pee on him. And I thought that was just great. All right. That was hilarious to hear that from Drew, because I think that deep down, we all want to say that. Deep down, we all want to, be that kind of guy, But I think Drew's a tremendous heel. Tremendous. All right. He did an incredible job on this particular night. And I think the anticipation and the build for him versus Rollins is getting real high up there. And I know Rollins is still technically injured, but by WrestleMania 40, he's going to be fully recuperated, fully built. So this match is going to be good. All right. And it just needs to be a standard one-on-one match. It doesn't need to be no street fight. It doesn't need to be a steel cage. It doesn't need to be a last man standing to end the series, but it does need to be good. I mean, good Lord. I want it to be entertaining, but I want Drew to kick Seth in the freaking head and make him flip so dang hard, all right? I want him to feel this for a few weeks, and I want Drew to become the champion, all right? I want to see something different. And Seth is good. I like Seth Rollins, but, I like Moxley a little bit better, I tell you. But that's me. But that's not because I don't like AEW better. I like Moxley. Moxley's a heck of a guy, all right? He cuts some banger promos. All right. So I'll check that off the list. Next. I'm just going to skip around too. All right. We ain't going to go from the top of the show to the bottom of the show. We're not going to go from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. We're going to go all over the place. All right. I'm going to try to talk about everything though. One of the things that made me a little bit excited, all right. Actually, I'll get to that in a second. So, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark won a tag team match. Woo! They won a tag team match. People should be excited that they won a tag team match, I mean, one week these two were teaming, and the next week they are not teaming. And then the next week they are teaming again. I mean, WWE just can't make their damn minds up, can they? But I have to say that Zoe Stark has a lot of potential. All right. She looks like a tough, rugged individual, doesn't she? She looks tough. She looks like a mean person that you don't want to mess with, right? She looks like a bodyguard, to be honest. Like, Shayna Baszler looks mean, like real mean. She looks like she should be the women's champion. She looks like she should be in one of those title fights or in a match with like one of the main women on the roster. But she has for the longest time been in random tag teams with random ladies, all right? And not saying these ladies don't have talent, they don't have potential, they don't have something that, gives them a little bit of go, but Shayna Baszler has a little bit more to offer, and we've seen that from NXT back when she was running the show, and now she's in a tag team with Zoe Stark. Now, is that a bad thing? Is that a thing that we're just going to frown our heads down and say, whoa, I think she's being overlooked big time. And Shayna Baszler deserves more respect, a little bit more respect, but she's in a tag team with Zoe Stark, and they won a tag team match against, Candice LaRae and Andy Hartwell. And I said this a few days ago that Candice LaRae needs some wins, because I think that Candice LaRae is an incredible athlete. I've been watching her and her good friend Johnny Gargano, her husband, for many, many years. And I have to say that these two individuals, they deserve some wins. All right. And how do you get championships in this company? How do you get championships in wrestling? You win some freaking matches. All right. You don't just win one. You don't just win two. You win several matches to become a champion. Candice LaRae last night, she impressed me, but I'll get to that in a second. See, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, they won a match. Hopefully they win a few more matches. All right. And hopefully they get a women's tag team championship match at WrestleMania. All right. The match itself isn't anything spectacular. I'm not looking forward to it. But Shayna becoming a champion again, all right, that's a cool thing to see. Zoe Stark winning her first main roster championship, that's cool. That's something to see. But Candice LaRae, here we go. Candice LaRae turning heel, that is, wow, that's something we can talk about because Indy Hartwell, man, you're not that great. I'm not really a fan of you at all. She's talented. All right, we'll just say that she's talented. She has charisma. She has something. I just don't know what it is. All right. Candice LeRae, on the other hand, she's real gifted. She's real talented, and she deserves to be used and idolized and utilized better than what she currently is. All right. So moving forward, Candice LeRae backstage told Andy Hartwell straight to her face, eye to eye, like I say, eye to eye contact. She said straight up, we need victories. We need wins right now. We don't need them tomorrow. We don't need them yesterday. We need them yesterday, but we don't need them like next week. We don't need them next month. We need them tonight. And you know what? She's dang right. She's right. She's right on track, right on target. You need them today. All right. Now, you did lose to a team that has been going up and down like a roller coaster ride for several weeks. And they've been trying to find themselves. All right, we challenge it for the tag team titles one week. We challenge for the women's title next week. Man, these two ladies can't make their thing mind up. But Candice LeRae as a heel on the roster is the way to go. Now, is she going to team up with Johnny Gargano? Probably not. All right, but I think that her being a heel on the women's locker room is a tremendous idea, and it's a very successful idea. Her versus Hartwell at WrestleMania. No, please no. But Candice LeRae after WrestleMania getting a little bit of a push and possibly winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. Yes, please. I could definitely get behind that, and I definitely want to see something like that. Some people may be like, but Candice LeRae can be a tremendous performer and a tremendous women's wrestler. And personally, I think that she should have done more in NXT. I just going to say it right there. She could have done more in NXT, but she was in a tag team with Indy Hartwell. All right, and that's not exciting. All right, moving right along because we just killed two birds with one stone with that baby boy. Because Candice LeRae and, being the tremendous heel that she is, tremendously gifted, tremendously performing, and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark's random team that's just not clicking for me. But the current women's tag team champions, we'll see. All right, let's take a swag of coffee. Some coffee. All right, moving right along. We're going to stick around with the ladies. So Raquel Rodriguez, she got challenged to a match by Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green came out there, and Chelsea Green running a little yapper like normal and, doing what Chelsea Green does. But Chelsea Green also does what she does, and she lost another match. Isn't this brilliant? She loses another match, and Raquel looks good. She looks good. She's been gone for a while. She's been healing. She's been recuperating, rebuilding, refocusing, rekindling the most important thing, her mind. All right. And she came back. She was super strong. And then in the backstage skit, little promo thing, she said that she is ready for WrestleMania. Now, what in the heck does that mean? Well, I think this is what this means. She's going to have some kind of thing at WrestleMania, but she's not going to be on the main show. It's probably going to be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Isn't that super exciting? So, yeah, she's going to be in the Battle Royal. She's going to be doing her deal in that match. And that's super exciting. And I do think that she deserves some prep. I do think that she needs this. She needs a little bit of something. So I think that she may win the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and, do her deal, and she deserves that. But they actually need to, when people win that, all right, I don't care if it's the men, I don't care if it's the women, I don't care who it is that wins that. They actually need to do something with that person because in the last few years, it feels like the person who wins it takes the back seat. And the company of WWE they don't do anything with the person who wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And they just sit there on their hands. They just sit there on their hands and they're just like, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? And they actually look stupid. All right, to be honest, they look fragile minded, you know. And I'm not really a fan of that. You know, build these people up, you make them look important, make them look like they're undefeatable, untouchable, undeniable, and make them look sensational. And Raquel has the potential to do that, but you got to do something with her. All right. So her just being in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, winning the dang thing is just, that's cool. That's interesting. But you actually have to do something with her. So with her winning it, that's cool. But, you know, do something with her. So after she wins the Memorial Battle Royal for the good old faithful Andre the Giant, have her actually do something. Okay, so go on a winning streak or something and get a title fight against, I guess it's probably going to be either Rhea Ripley or Becky Lynch at that time. Challenge one of those two ladies to a fight down the road. All right, possibly a SummerSlam or whatever, and then bring that up that she won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal and that she has been on such a roll that she wants to challenge the champion, that she wants to beat them, that she wants to dethrone them, and that she's been undefeated since that win. And do it, and let her not just defeat just random people. All right, just a random stray of people who don't even work for the company. Let her actually beat people that mean something to the company. All right, people that are on a roll as well as she is. Let it be important. All right, let the wins actually mean something in the company. All right. All right. I'm trying to, a little bit of charisma tonight, a little bit of a little prep in my step kind of thing. Instead of being boring, Sometimes it's not being cool, being boring. How you going to gain a following if you're boring? You ain't going to gain any following. I ain't going to gain a following, and I'm trying to be exciting. All right. Moving right along. 22 minutes into this big old bad wolf. Man, my dang nose itches. All right. So we're 22 minutes into it, about 23 minutes. All right. So the next question looming on everybody's mind, we had this other tremendous promo that kept appearing. All right. So Gunther was out there, he, doing Gunther stuff, And he was interrupted by the Judgment Day. And he pointed out that Finn Balor could be the guy to challenge him for the Intercontinental Championship. And then Damian Priest interjected and said that, at WrestleMania, they'll be the one to take the Intercontinental Championship. And then Dominic Mysterio intervened and said that, got a little nasty with him and said that, that he would take the strap off of him. And then a couple times in backstage skits, Sami Zayn said something to Walter. He said something to backstage about potentially challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. And then Chad Gable said something to the general manager about potentially challenging again for the Intercontinental Championship. So what's going to happen with the Intercontinental title? Well, there's multiple array of scenarios that could happen here. We could go with a one-on-one match. You could go with Gunther versus Finn Balor, or Gunther versus Damian Priest, or Walter versus Dominic Mysterio, Walter versus Sami Zayn, or Walter versus Chad Gable. But this is WrestleMania, right? This is WrestleMania. So that means you can have WrestleMania have the Intercontinental Championship defended in a 5-way match, right? A 5-way ladder match or something? In past years, that would be interesting to see. Okay, that would be very interesting to see with the 5 names that I mentioned. But 3 of those names are partners. They're in the same faction together. Okay, and Rhea Ripley actually told Dominic, because Dominic told Rhea backstage in a skit that he was going to win the Intercontinental Championship. And Rhea Ripley told him, well, you better. Okay? So my feelings towards this is simple. I do believe that the Judgment Day should potentially be the ones to challenge for that. But I also think they should not. Okay. So I think the 5-way ladder match is a good idea and it has good intentions behind it. But I think there's better alternatives. Okay. So I think that Finn Balor and Damian Priest ultimately will be defending those World Tag Team, the WWE World, well, the WWE Unified Undisputed Tag Team Championships against an array of tag teams. All right. I think it's going to be more than one tag team. I don't think it's going to be just one tag team. I think it's going to be several tag teams that they're defending the tag team titles against. However, I think in the next few weeks that Damian Priest is going to get his shot at the Intercontinental Championship against Gunther, one-on-one. All right. And I think something's going to happen in that match that's going to make him lose the match. Now, as we all know that R-Truth went to the wrong town, just like he went to the wrong country, okay, back-to-back weeks, all right? And so I think R-Truth and The Miz are designated to be in that spot to challenge for the tag team titles. So I think when Damian Priest does get that shot for the Intercontinental Championship, I think the R-Truth or The Miz, most likely it's going to be R-Truth, though, because he actually has a story and direction with that. But I think R-Truth is unintentionally going to cost Damian Priest the victory. Okay. So I think that is going to set up a match between the two and the two tag teams down the road at WrestleMania. But I like wrestling matches that have a little bit more than story to them. All right. So DIY versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest for the World Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania. That sounds more like a moneymaker match to me. But having like a turmoil match or something like that would be interesting because WWE likes to put as many talents as potentially possible at WrestleMania. So I could definitely see that taking place. All right. At this moment, though, it's unclear. It's unclear about the direction. But you got teams like Imperium that have been looking really good, and they picked up a massive victory, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But they picked up a victory. And we got other teams, so you could have like 2 teams from Raw, 2 teams from SmackDown, or whatever you want to make this happen. All right. But me personally, what I would do is I would have DIY challenge for those World Tag Team Championships, which the question is, where were they tonight? And I mean, where were they on Monday Night Raw? And they were absent. They were gone. They were, nobody knows where they were at. But Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, they deserve that opportunity. They're good enough to have that opportunity. And they're former WWE NXT Tag Team Champions. And they also have held many other championships throughout their linings of WWE. All right. Tommaso also challenged for the Intercontinental Championship within the last few months. And so Johnny Gargano, incredible talents. So I want to see something special. Okay. So DIY versus Judgment Day. However, I do think that the direction will be that because they teased it. They teased it on Monday Night Raw, right? They teased Gunther versus Damian Priest in a match, and they even had security break them up, right? Gunther, whoever he faces, okay? So if he faces Finn Balor, if he faces Damian Priest, if he faces Dominic Mysterio, I want him to retain the prize against any of those guys. Because at the end of the day, after WrestleMania, I want it to be like the pressing of the restart button. So I want this group to be finished, finalized, donezo. I want them to be done. I want the conflict to be at the highest point because I want Rhea Ripley to be losing her strap. I want them to lose their tag team straps. I want the Intercontinental Championship to be as far away from this potentially possible. I want the World Championship. I don't care if it's the WWE World's Heavyweight title. I don't care if it's the WWE Universal Championship. I want all those titles away from them. I want this group to start crumbling from the inside out. I want all of them to freak out because I want them to be like, hey, man, who's in and who's out? I want them to fall apart from the seams out. So because I want a story and I want direction. All right. Damian Priest still has time to cash in. So it's not we don't have that, but I want the group to basically split in half. You see what to happen with the LWO. I want that to happen with them. All right. But a little bit better. All right. So you got Team Rhea versus Team Priest. All right. So, we'll see how that goes. All right. But Would I be excited to see a Damian Priest versus Gunther matchup? Would I be excited to see that fight? Would I be able to cheer, Gunther on and stuff? I think I would. I think I would enjoy that match. I think I would want to see, Gunther slap the holy heck right out of Damian Priest and retain the Intercontinental Championship. But on the other side of the fence, Damian Priest has been built pretty strong as the Money in the Bank holder, and he looks incredible. He's doing incredible work. But I just think that him and Finn will be losing those straps very, very soon, and it will happen at the blink of a hat too. This kind of thing. So Finn Balor's contract also expires shortly after WrestleMania. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that nice? So, and he has yet to sign a new contract. He has yet to sign a new deal. And they're probably trying and working so diligently, working so hard to sign that man to a new deal. And because, AEW is just hanging in the background, hanging in the distance, hanging in there just to sign this dude because, Finn Balor has a lot of history with some of the talents that work for AEW. So, we could just imagine this dude signing a new deal with him and, showing up, just randomly showing up and then, being Prince Devitt yet one more time. So, yeah. So we'll wait. We'll see what happens with that whole ordeal. But, as far as everybody else, all right. So everybody else that was mentioned, Chad Gable, when he took on Mr. Gunther both times, man, they were some of the best freaking matches I have ever seen, I ever witnessed, all right? Incredible contest after incredible contest between those two individuals. Chad Gable, in my opinion, is the guy that people want to see hold that Intercontinental Championship. See, people, when they look at the WWE Universal Championship, they see Cody Rhodes' face written all over it. They see him being the guy to dethrone Roman Reigns. They see him being the guy to beat Roman right in the center of the ring and portray him as defeated because, Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns. In this instance, people look at the Intercontinental Championship, they see Chad Gable written all over it. They see this guy that's overlooked. They see this guy that has all this potential, has all this, technical ability, this God-given talent, and they want him to hold and possess that Intercontinental Championship. And I don't blame him at all. Chad Gable is one of the very best talents right now in the WWE. He's in a tag team with a guy that was in a tag team known as Heavy Machinery, which Otis is good. Otis is great, man. But I have to say right now, down to the deepest core of my body, the deepest part of my spirit, this dude Chad Gable reminds me of a young Kurt Angle. When Kurt Angle came out there, Kurt Angle was no tag team. All right? Kurt Angle came out there many moons ago, and he would win the Intercontinental Championship. He won the European Championship. He would, eventually he would win the WWE Championship, and he was great, And he didn't just beat nobodies to win those titles. He beat guys who were established talents to win those titles and get a name for himself. And if WWE does things correctly, Chad Gable could be one of the bigger stars in the company. All right. So Chad Gable, I talked about Candice LaRae potentially winning the women's Money in the Bank briefcase. You could do that with Chad Gable. Chad Gable has a bright future just like Candice LaRae if you do things right. See, right now you have the cards laid out in front of you, and you're like, hey, man, do I do this or do I do that? Okay? Because if I do this, in the next few years, Chad Gable may not work for this company. But if I do this and I start getting behind him and I start getting him some victories and I start giving him some wins and I make him seem like he's authentic, make him seem like he's important, this guy's going to be the top of the marquee. And if he's the top of the marquee, if he's what people want to see, people are going to get what they want to see. And so at the end of the day, when the sun goes down at night, people want to see this guy hold the Intercontinental Championship. So man. But at the same dang time, hanging in the distance, you have Sami Zayn, who is a former Intercontinental Champion in his own right. And he did a decent job. Most of the time he held the Intercontinental Championship, he was a bad guy. He was a heel. He was a guy that nobody liked. And now he's a babyface. Everybody loves him. Everybody cares for him. Everybody wants him to be a champion again. So what do you do? What do you do? Well, this is what I would do. All right. So you have all these names of conflict. All right. All these conflictable names. So you Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Chad Gable, and Sami Zayn. You have four guys that could potentially get a shot at the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, right? Let's have some qualifying matches. And the winners of these matches get an opportunity. They get a huge, massive opportunity at WrestleMania to face Gunther in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. So I would have, well, let's make some matches here tonight. So I would have Damian Priest take on Chad Gable one-on-one, okay? And then I would have Finn Balor. Oh, Finn Balor would go one-on-one with Sami Zayn. All right. The winners of those matches I would have go on to take on Gunther in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Okay. So Gunther would take and defend his Intercontinental Championship against Sami Zayn and against Chad Gable in a triple threat match. And that would be an amazing contest. Now, the thing is, the only bad thing about this is Gunther is taking on two top baby faces. All right. So Gunther, no matter what, would be the guy heating the fall, I think. I mean, it would make perfect sense if he was the one who eat the fall. All right. So that's what I would do. And then I would have the tag team titles to be defended possibly in a turmoil type match or even another triple threat. All right. But I think that Awesome Truth, The Miz, and R-Truth are probably going to get that tag team title opportunity more than DIY at this moment because they're more dilated into that story. Okay, so they're more dilated into that story with, R-Truth, like being 1 minute in the Judgment Day and then getting kicked out and, being confused 98% of the time. But they have that little bit of a factor in storyline there that is like spinning the pot, stirring the pot. What are you going to get? What are you going to get? But DIY has the future possibility of being the number one contenders because of who they are and what they're about and the excitement that they bring, not just to the tag team division, but also to Monday Night Raw, to the WWE, to wrestling, to everything that they touch because it's so exciting and so over the top. So me personally, I would make it a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship, in which I would possibly have Gunther eat the fall and also lose the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So that means the Intercontinental Championship would change hands. That means the WWE World Women's Championship would change hands. The WWE World Championship would change hands. The WWE Universal Championship would change hands. The United States Championship, I would also change hands, but I would have it change hands in another match, not the because Logan Paul deserves a one-on-one match with Randy Orton, not a multi-man match with multiple people like AJ and LA Knight and Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, whatever. So let's move on from that. So I think every single championship in the WWE has to change hands at WrestleMania. Let's just say that. So that's what I would do. And speaking of Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura had an incredible match. I don't think they've ever had a bad match. They've had incredible matches at TakeOver. When they first took on each other, they had an incredible contest. All right, Shinsuke Nakamura's debut, and they had this incredible contest, And last night when they went one-on-one, when they went toe-to-toe against each other, it was another incredible contest. And I have to say straight up that was one of my favorite parts of this show because you got these two top indie wrestlers, which actually Shinsuke Nakamura, I mean, wrestling for many, many years, many, many moons in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I wouldn't really call that an independent, company. But, Sami Zayn was a top Ring of Honor star and then became, top Gorilla Pro, champion as well. And in multiple of those companies, he also worked with a guy called Kevin Steen, which now goes by the name of Kevin Owens. All right. He also worked with people like the Young Bucks and shit, So, but Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura have never had a bad match. And last night was the It was a good finish. But it did two things. So it had two questions pop in my mind during that match. And they're very similar questions, but they're two different outcomes. First, what is next for Shinsuke Nakamura? Because Shinsuke Nakamura continuously loses. Now, he looked great. Came off that a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so, and he was this top heel, and he looked intimidating. He looked like he had some fight in him. But then a month later, this guy looks like a joke and is on TV losing another week after week. Woo! So what are we going to do about this? Well, you just got to reinvent the wheel kind of thing. Okay. So Shinsuke Nakamura is incredible. Oh my gosh. Shinsuke Nakamura is incredible. I had to put my pen down because I'm getting a little excited over here. But Shinsuke Nakamura is incredible. So you got to basically play the cards that you're dealt. All right. You don't have to try too hard. It's Shinsuke Nakamura. Good Lord, man. So just give it your all. That's basically all it is. Give it your all with Shinsuke Nakamura and possibly send him back to NXT and have incredible matches there. But maybe that's just going backwards a little bit. Shinsuke Nakamura needs something to give him a little bit of amp. All right. I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know if he's going to have a WrestleMania moment, but I would do my duty to make something happen for Shinsuke because you already missed the boat when it came to signing Jay White. You missed the boat when it came to signing Will Ospreay. You missed the boat when it comes to signing all these potential talents. And now, soon, the contract of Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be coming up, and people are going to be frantically worried, pacing back and forth in a room, trying to figure out if Shinsuke is going to sign and if he's going to re-sign with the company that's, held him up for many years. You need to figure stuff out now before it's too late. Because if you wait, the time's going to pass you by. All right. So all I got to say is they got to figure out what they're going to do with Shinsuke before it's too late. Because Shinsuke is not in the best position. And I mean, he's like right in the middle of the card, but when he had the opportunity to become the WWE champion, when he took on AJ Styles at WrestleMania a few years back, and then he lost, and then he turned heel, and then he looked like a complete idiot in his heel turn, and then people were like, what is going on here today? That was called a mistake on the behalf of the company because they were like, we want him to be successful, but we just don't want him to be champion. We don't want him to be our champion. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with you? I mean, what is wrong with you? Because if you would have made him champion, and then by this point, if he's a 2-time or even a 3-time world heavyweight champion, then the possibility of you signing Jay White or Will Ospreay or even Okada, that the chances go up gradually, very, very much so. And then you have the possibility of actually having these 5-star matches, 5-star clinic matches that AEW are having, and even New Japan Pro Wrestling are having, because you have better talent. Not saying the talent that WWE currently possess are bad. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying that the talent that they currently have, a lot of their talent don't muster up to some of the talent that are in the world today because they have they're too strict on their guidelines. They're too strict on the way they want matches to be done. They're too strict on everything. So some things are just it's a little bit it's too confined. It feels like you can't move. You can't wander away. And getting excited. But the second question that popped in my head was the same thing. What's next for Sami Zayn? Well, Sami Zayn, to me, should be in the picture for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, my main picture for him is to be in the main picture for the World Heavyweight Championship. But then building up to the WWE Elimination Chamber for one of the qualifying matches, he lost his match to qualify for that match, to qualify for the chamber. And I was like, wait a second. If he loses his match for the chamber, that simply means one thing. They don't have a vision for him to become the champion. Even though Sami Zayn, soon after, cut a promo that he had the feeling, he had the intuition that he was going to get the opportunity to become a heavyweight champion. He wants to be the champion. That's a great thing to have, Sammy. That's a great thing, some kind of intuition that you want to accomplish that goal, you want to accomplish that dream. Well, that's not going to happen right now. But what can happen right now is that he gets a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. Okay? He gets a shot at the IC Championship, and he takes that championship match to WrestleMania, and he goes and he has a competitive fight and makes an incredible moment at WrestleMania. Even though I got a feeling that if that match does happen, it's going to be a triple threat match, and Chad Gable is going to be the one walking out of the event with the Intercontinental Championship as your new Intercontinental Champion, which is exciting. It's very exciting news. But on the other stand of the things, is it really truly exciting? Is it really truly what we want to see? Is it really truly, is it really something we desire to see? Sami Zayn lose. I don't know if it's what we want to see. But if that happens, if Chad Gable walks out of the event as the champion, that after WrestleMania, that might transition into more of a Sami Zayn versus Gunther feud, a one-on-one feud, rather than a triple threat feud, if you get where I'm coming from. All right. So, but WWE needs to focus right now on how to better position Shinsuke Nakamura and how to make him seem more desirable for feuds and stories moving forth. All right. See, him turning into this psycho heel that sort of used Tajiri's mist in order to get heel heat and get put over and stuff was incredible. More heels from Japan need to do that technique, and he actually heels in general need to use that technique, but we need to focus on how to get him up here rather than below average, especially when it comes to picking up victories. Because I don't care what any promoter says, I don't care what any announcer says, I don't care what anybody says in wrestling or outside of wrestling, victories mean everything. All right, if you have an NFL, like say the worst team in the NFL goes to the Super Bowl and they win the dang thing, and people are like, oh yeah, they got lucky in that game. They're still known as champion, yes, but it's about the victories. You don't get to the Super Bowl without picking up some victories. You don't get to the NBA championship without picking up some victories. The same thing with winning the Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship, the WWE Universal Championship, the WWE. It doesn't matter what championship. It doesn't matter what company. It doesn't matter if you do it for New Japan Pro Wrestling. It doesn't matter if you work for AEW. It doesn't matter if you work for WWE. Championship wins matter. Wins matter. If you get one victory, you can get 10 victories. If you get 10 victories, you can get 50, 100, 200, 300, 1,000. And the thing is, victories lead to gold, right? So let's get him some victories. Let's see something happen, all right? And if he does have a Mania moment, it might be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he might pick up a victory. But again, we go back to the same thing I said about Raquel earlier, which is fun. You recycle what you said earlier, right? Raquel Gonzalez, or Raquel Rodriguez, whatever you want to say, all right? Raquel is in the same boat, all right? Now, Shinsuke Nakamura, didn't just come back from an injury. But both of those individuals, if they win the Battle Royal, they need to look like they mean something after the WrestleMania match. That following Monday, they need to come out there stroking. They need to come out there looking like they're the best damn thing on the show. They need to come out there looking like they are important, all right? Because if they just come out there like the average Joe, like the average person, and then a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, we forget that they even were in the match. What in the heck? Even won the match, let alone in the match. We forget that they won the match, and then it's just forgettable. It's like, wow. No, that match, that victory needs to mean something. Okay, you put it over, you book it, you analyze it, you make it seem like it's the end all be it all right? And so with that being said, you need to actually make it look like it's something important. You need to make it look like it's something that makes us excited. All right. Makes us want to jump out of our chairs, makes us want to dance, makes us want to sing, makes us want to get involved in sports entertainment. But right now, the match show in the last few years has made it look like it's a complete waste of time and potential. And why does it even exist? I know you're giving tribute to a legend, all right, who passed away in the early 90s. But I mean, I personally would like to see something a little bit different. All right. So if you're going to have somebody win that match, give them time, give them a lot of time, and make them seem like they are the world, and make them seem like they are important to the world. Because if you don't, the crowd, the audience, everybody around them is going to seem like they, man, you got had, boy, because it's just not working out for you. All right. So moving right along, 50 minutes into this thing, and I'm 0 views, baby boy, 0 views. Son of a gun. All right, maybe next week I'll get some views. I don't know. I'll just keep going. Maybe I'll get a view towards the end. I'll just make stuff up, I guess. My cousin posted a video on Facebook. That's nice of him. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I'll watch it. Hopefully I'll watch it. I don't know. Next, let's see here. I'm going to talk about, since we talked about the Intercontinental Championship, we talked about Gunther, okay, being a defending and proud Intercontinental Champion that's held the title for close to 700 days now, getting close to 700. We're going to talk about his boys, Imperium. Okay, so Imperium looked good. All right, they dominated the match. They looked highly impressive. They look like they mean something. They look like WWE are giving them a shot. Like WWE, wants them to be important, and everything. And I'm excited about that. Woo! A little bit of brightness here today. Oh, yeah, look at that, baby boy. So, it was getting a little dark in the room, so, I got to turn on my flashlight. I live in a cave. So Imperium looked highly impressive. Okay, they looked really impressive, and they look like a tag. They look like a tag team you can be proud of. Like if you're watching wrestling with someone for the first time, you're like, man, look at these two guys. Look at these tag team competitors out there just beating the holy heck out of this team named the New Day. All right, former longest reigning SmackDown tag team champions of all time. Okay, so Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, they had impressive parts during the match. They didn't look like a complete waste. All right, they didn't look like a complete, they didn't look horrible. Okay, they actually looked like they wanted to show up for a street fight. They actually looked like they wanted to fight. Okay. But at the end of the day, when the sun went down at night, they were the ones with the ones looking up at the sky, looking at the stars above them, because they were knocked the heck out by Imperium. Okay, so Imperium looked highly impressive, and they looked like they were really smart, and they looked like they were on the same page. Okay, even though about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, before what's his name had the little before we had a little bit of jealousy in Imperium when they looked like they were fighting over the love and affection of Gunther. And I have to say straight up that I wish they would have continued in that angle, in that momentum. But if you're going to continue building them up as this potential tag team of the future with this bright future, all right, you need to make them look like they're important. All right. So picking up victories over former tag team champions, not just tag team champions. All right. They didn't just have the belts once. They didn't just have the belts twice. They didn't just have the belts 3 times. They had them many, many, many times. All right. These guys are really, really good. All right. And I say they were good. All right. Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston looked like they were struggling a little bit last night. They looked a little bit weak last night. And so what I have to say about that is, I'm done with seeing New Day on TV. I want to see something new. So after WrestleMania, if you turn Xavier Woods heel like he should have been a couple years ago and have him go on his own run, then maybe finally he can win either United States or Intercontinental Championship and become maybe a mainstream athlete. All right. I know that they like the success that New Day brought. I know that they like everything that New Day brought to the table. And they were successful. They did big numbers. They did big draws, and they held many, many championships. But sometimes you just gotta look yourself in the mirror and you gotta question the situation. You gotta question the outcome. You gotta question everything that's happened. All right. And I think the time has come. The time is left, and we need something different. All right. And Big E is on the shelf, and that's indefinite. And Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are not getting any younger. They're old. All right. And Kofi Kingston's he's in his 40s. And I would like to see him get another crack at the WWE Championship, to be honest. Because his first reign, I mean, good Lord, man, he should have had more of an entertaining match with Brock Lesnar, but it wasn't. All right. It was over in seconds. And Xavier Woods, he deserves another shot at the Intercontinental title, and he definitely deserves to actually possess it. He deserves to hold it. All right. So reinvent the New Day. The New Day needs something bigger. They need something better. They need something to grab onto. But Imperium, man, they look good, man. They look real good, man. And they deserve that opportunity to be called champions. All right. And not saying they should be the ones to knock off the Judgment Day. Maybe they should be, maybe they shouldn't be. But I am just saying that they deserve an opportunity to be a tag team. And if you're going to have them be a tag team, have them continuously win. But if you want to sow seeds that they're going to separate, that they're going to split, that Gunther's going to, possibly kick Litwig out of the company, or not out of the company, but out of his little faction, then sow those seeds, baby, because the seeds you sow today will reap tomorrow. All right. So, yeah. And let's see here. I think we only have a couple more things to do, don't we? Yes, we do. All right. So the third and final promo for the evening was Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch in the center of the ring talking smack to each other. And then I thought it was funny what Dom was saying. Dom really didn't fit into this scenario at all, the situation, and he didn't really belong there, but I understand. He wants to give mommy some special time, and make her feel like she's more important than she is. And she's the most important person in that faction. She's the most important person on Monday Night Raw in multiple different ways. All right. This promo between the two was really good, and I liked that Rhea Ripley said that there's always a woman behind the man, but in this case, the woman is in front of the man and doesn't need the man. And it's real, I know these two are going to have an incredible contest, and I know said multiple times that I would have rather seen Rhea Ripley defend the championship against Bianca Belair, because I think that match is more deserving, and I think more people would like to see that match. But I think the match that we're being served, and the match that was going to be playing time and time again, is going to be a really good match. But I wouldn't be shocked if the title does not change hands. But I hope it does change hands. I think that Becky deserves another crack at the championships. Yeah. So, yeah. But I think the promo was really good, and it really did set the stage for what is to come at WrestleMania 40 when these two finally meet at WrestleMania. And I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be in our face, and it's going to be, it's going to be great. Now we get to the cream of the crop that rises to the top. We get to Seth Rollins, dear old buddy, old pal, Cody Rhodes, and his comments towards, good old, the guy with some problems named Paul Heyman, and his encounter, his matchup with Grayson Waller. All right. Well, first of all, I have to say that Grayson Waller and Austin Theory are in a similar predicament as Imperium. And I say that because both of those tag teams deserve a shot at the World Tag Team straps. All right. Both these tag teams deserve a shot at those straps in the near future because I think Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are a highly entertaining tag team, and they're really good. All right. They're really good, and they really accompany each other with what they have to say and how they get over and what they look like. They're really good, because their work is really similar. All right. But I have to say that match between Cody Rhodes and Grayson Waller was incredible. I mean, in the last few months and the last few years, I haven't really seen like a bad Cody Rhodes match. And when he had a torn pec, he was going out there and he was fighting tooth and nail, and he was going out there and having the best match of the night, still with an injury. So I think he's just setting the stage, and he's making himself every single week look more and more like a champion. And what does that have to say about Cody Rhodes, the individual? Well, that's just to say it's in the blood. It's a lineage, He grew up in the world of wrestling, where he grew up with, legends like Arn Anderson and, the American Dream of Dusty Rhodes. And, the list goes on and on about the individuals who were grooming him when he was young to become who he is today, because it's not just him and his dad. It's also his brother, who best known as Goldust, but Dustin Reynolds, who is now in AEW mainly as a trainer, but he also is in tag teams with, in the last few weeks, it's been with the Von Erichs and stuff, and still going strong, and he's in his 50s, But I want to see Cody Rhodes be champion, all right? And I want to see this match at WrestleMania. All right. I want to see this match be better than that first match. And the first match was incredible. It was incredible between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes going out there and having the best match of the dang night and going out there and stealing the dang show. But I have to say right now, I want this next match to be longer. All right? I want this match to be better. I want this match to make these guys fight harder and fight to stand on their feet, to punch the other one straight in the mouth even more, because I want this to be more competitive. All right? Because I want to show, want the story to continue. Not just, oh man, I'm completing my story. The story's done. It's over. I win the strap. It's done. I retire it tomorrow. Woo. No, I don't want that to happen at all. I want Cody to be like, man, I'm the champion. I'm a dedicated champion. I'm a fighting champion. I'm going to continue the legacy that my dad set forth and that my brother set forth, and that the elders, when I was a young kid, and the elders that were around, I want them to set forth, and I want to do my deal, and be a fighting champion, just like Cody. I want to be a fighting champion like Seth Rollins and like a Gunther, and I'm going to have these 5-star matches against anybody and everybody across the globe. All right, it's people from like that relationship that was talked about between Impact and WWE when Jordan Grace appeared. I want that relationship to come back when Josh Alexander or even Trey Miguel or somebody comes to WWE and challenges Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes, I think, should implement a thing where it is actually the WWE Universal Championship, where he actually defends that title universally and challenges anybody. It doesn't matter what company you work for. It doesn't matter anything. He'll challenge you, and he'll fight you. All right. So I think that Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns needs to be a fight. It needs to be an all-pow brawl, and he proven that when Paul Heyman came out there and basically said, because Cody Rhodes' whole thing in this last few weeks, has been to get real with to get real. So he challenged The Rock to a future matchup, and obviously The Rock hasn't responded yet, because he's going to respond this Friday. But Paul Heyman was like, there's going to be serious repercussions for you challenging The Rock to a future matchup. Now, me personally, I think that Cody Rhodes and The Rock need to have a match one-on-one on night 1 of WrestleMania. All right. A lot of people are clamoring and signing him up for a tag team match on night 1. They're saying it needs to be in the main event. It needs to be Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes taking on The Rock and Roman Reigns in the main event of night 1 at WrestleMania 40. And I look them straight in the eye and I'll say, no, please, no. Because the simple reason is, well, The simple reason is we need to see Cody fight The Rock by himself on night one. We need to see Cody look like that he's been defeated, and see him struggle, and see him really struggle, and then he fights back. And he fights back so much that at the end of his match with The Rock, him and The Rock shake hands, and The Rock gets on the mic, and he basically shows a sign of respect between himself and Cody, and he says, like that following Monday or something, he says that he sees now what the audience seen in him, that he sees what the audience seen in Cody Rhodes, and Cody has earned The Rock's respect. You hear that? You hear that? The Rock sees what the people see in The Rock, and they see what the people see in Cody, and that The Rock Cody has earned the respect of The Rock. And then they shake hands. They shake hands. Woo! They shake hands. And then, Roman comes out, and then eventually you start signing up the, deliverance for Cody or The Rock versus Roman Reigns down the line. But I don't want a tag team match. I don't want Seth and Cody. I mean, it's not that I don't want the match. It's not that I don't desire the match. It's not that I'm not excited about that match. But I don't want that match. I do not want to see Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes take on Roman Reigns and The Rock at WrestleMania. I want Cody Rhodes to beat The Rock at WrestleMania. All right. How are you going to get the man over? All right. How are you going to, how in storyline, how are you going to make The Rock start respecting Cody Rhodes just like that? Out of the blue, man. He's just like, I respect Cody now. No, you're going to have him beat him in the center of the ring. And then the following night, Rock turns on Roman because he respects Cody. But he also, deep down, he's like, you're not the tribal chief. I'm the high chief, baby boy. So he takes him out. He screws his own flesh and blood over to help Cody out. All right. And Cody becomes the man of the hour. So Cody beating Grayson in that tremendous contest made him look more and certified him more as a man of the hour. It certified him more as a champion. It certified him as more of the man to beat Roman. I'm happy about that. All right. But Grayson and Austin, they look good. They look tremendous as heels. And yeah. So that was Monday Night Raw review and reactions. I don't know, I may look and see if anybody else titled it differently or something, because maybe it's supposed to be reactions for, Monday Night Raw reactions for February 26, 2024. But I will try my dearest and dangest to look up, how other creators on YouTube phrase that, because if they phrased it differently, I may for next week phrase it differently, for it sounds differently, for more people view the video. Because why am I trying to do YouTube? Well, I'm trying to do YouTube in order to gain a base, gain a community, in order to have conversations with people about Jesus Christ. About Jesus Christ, about wrestling, about my nature walks, about, something meaningful, something desirable in life. All right. So, yeah. And a few people did, but nobody leaves comments, and I haven't got to that stage where people leave comments in my live chats yet, but I have gotten to the stage where people are visiting the video, just not a lot of people. It's a small number of people, but it's a good way for me to get out there. It's a good way for me to get my name out there by talking about, potential matchups at WrestleMania 40 or possible situations down the road. And I mean, I wouldn't mind being like a creative writer or creative director or something important in that company or another wrestling company for a wrestling show. But to be completely honest and fair, I'm not in that position. So since I'm not in that position, I can't really forecast myself in that particular way. So since I can't forecast myself in that particular way, I just gotta do things as they come. So I try to do live streams, and most of the time they don't go particularly well because I don't really have the biggest community. To be honest, I don't really have the biggest community. I don't really have a lot of fans or a lot of people that cheer me on or want the best for me, kind of thing. But I try. That's the thing about me. A lot different than a lot of people. A lot of people just give up, and me, I at least will try, or try to change things as time ticks on. But real quick, I'll go over a few things just quickly, just speed things up. Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre had an incredible promo. I think Drew McIntyre, he stole the night with that his part of the promo though, saying that he was going to pee on SmackDown pretty much. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory should definitely be at future tag team champions. They should definitely challenge for those titles. They should definitely capture those titles at least twice. Come on, build the tag team division up. Cody Rhodes is starting to look like a world heavyweight champion. Great matches week after week, victories week after week, looking highly impressive week after week, making himself look untouchable, undeniable week after week. He's all around top talent. Candice LaRae and her possible heel turn. I'm excited about that. I think that's one of the highlights for the show, to be honest, for me, because I want the best for Candice, and I think that she needs the best. She deserves the best. Yeah. And I also want the best for her husband, too, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I think they are all three highly talented athletes, and they all deserve a crack at the gold. And then Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch had an incredible promo, and they looked incredible. All right. They've been doing incredible work in the last few months, and I want to continue that to happen. But at the same dang time, I want to see these two just go out there and just maul each other and rip each other's fangs out of their mouth. And I want to see an incredible contest between these two individuals, which I have zero doubt that that's going to happen. And then the big question is who's going to challenge Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio, and Finn Balor were some names that were thrown out there. Maybe there'll be more names like Bronson Reed or Ivar that are going to be thrown out there too. That would be exciting to hear either one of their names being thrown out there, because I think that the more people announced to challenge for the Intercontinental Championship would be interesting. But I think the more people that challenge, the more likely that we're going to have a new Intercontinental Champion. I personally would think that Chad Gable would be the most deserving to hold it, because I think that he needs it, and he also has the fans behind him to win it. So, the big question though is like, what's next for Sami Zayn, but also what is next for Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura needs victories, and Sami Zayn needs a championship. So, WWE can definitely do both of those in the next 6 months to a year. Raquel Rodriguez, she looked highly impressive, yet is WWE going to capitalize on her momentum? Are they going to capitalize on her momentum, and are they going to continue with the victory celebrations, or are they going to drop the freaking ball yet again with what she does or what she's capable of doing? And Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, are they going to continue teaming? And are they going to challenge at WrestleMania for the tag straps, or are they going to fade away into darkness yet again and then team up a couple weeks later or a month later? So We'll have to wait and see. And then Imperium, lastly, Imperium looked very, very impressive. Probably the most impressive they looked in a long, long time. But I want to see more from them because I am impressed. I definitely am impressed, but I want to see more. I want to see more from them. And as far as New Day goes, when are they going to call it quits as far as it comes to being a tag team? Yeah. So this was my Monday Night Raw review and reactions for February 26th, 2024. Hope you all have a tremendous evening, and I guess I will talk to you all later. Most of you will probably watch this on recap, rewind, and review. If even so, have a tremendous and faithful week or month or year or whatever. Take care. Spike your hair, living life to the fullest. I'll talk to you all next time on Kryptonite Core.